Here's the good news. We're continuing our conversation we started earlier in the show about your financial future. Tony D'Amico is here from Fidato Wealth, and he's been doing this for 18 years. There have been articles about Tony in the Wall Street Journal, all kinds of publications, so he's been doing something right. And it's interesting, after we had the segment a little earlier in the show, if you missed it, boy, you missed a lot. But people are asking now, like, well, if he's a fiduciary and he's not selling you stuff and he's just organizing you, how do you pay him? How does he make money? How does it work? So how does your relationship work with a client?
That's a good question. So when it comes to investment management, we work on a fee-only basis. And I really think that's a good question if you work with an advisor or if you're thinking of working with an advisor, just to understand how are they compensated. So there's investment management. Do they work on a fee basis or a commission basis? And where commissions come into play is sometimes people will get paid more for, if they put their clients in certain vehicles. So you want them to kind of have a level compensation, so they don't have any desire or incentive to put you in one investment versus another.
It only makes sense if you can make more money by selling me B rather than A or C, you try to sell me B. But a fiduciary has made a commitment to his client in writing that says,
correct.
I'm there for your best interests.
That's correct.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and really that's the way it should be, and it's a shame it's so complicated. But that's a real important question to ask, is how are they compensated? And again, we talked about earlier about making sure they're not one of those fiduciaries that has some sort of dual affiliation where they might be getting commissions off of investments or perhaps other financial products where they might have that incentive.
So somebody could be like a half fiduciary and half not?
That's correct.
That's pretty weird.
That's right. It's really, the U.S. is one of the few countries that can be. Like, for example, Australia, all advisors have to be a fiduciary across all advice, whether it's a retirement account or a non-retirement account or whatever it might be. But that's just unfortunately where kind of we're at. But I think that kind of goes along with some of the tips that I really want to give your viewers, asking them not only how are they compensated, but ask them too, what sort of designation or license that they have. Some of the better ones are a certified financial planner, a CFP, a chartered financial analyst, or it's called a CFA, or a certified public accountant, a CPA, or a Series 65. And you can see how confusing it is.
That's a lot of numbers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But are any of those people fiduciaries?
They all are. There's a chance that some of them could be duly registered as well.
So you should know who you're dealing with. And the greatest thing about this too is when you talk to Tony or a fiduciary, for the first time, you bring all your stuff, you drop it on the table, you take a look at it, and you sort it out, and you'll sort things out of the pile that maybe aren't fitting for that person and where they're headed in their retirement.
That's correct. That's correct. And that's where again, taking a look at that comprehensive picture is so important. Really taking your time with that person, getting to understand them and their family, and what they want their money to do. Chances are they're not investing for the sake of investing.
Right.
They're investing because they have goals in their life. They want to maintain a quality of life.
You want to have lunch when you're 85 years old.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So what I learned about this is education. You got to learn a lot. And so let me whip this out for you folks right here, because I saw this sitting over there on the counter. I don't know if I was supposed to bring it out or not. But this is a thing that says Retirement Planning Today. So you actually give people a chance to learn about this.
That's correct. Yeah.
So how do you do this?
So there's a class called Retirement Planning Today that I teach for Lorain County Community College, the Center for Lifelong Learning. And it's a completely educational class. It's $49. We do cover the complete retirement planning process, from how to set retirement planning goals and what's important to you throughout retirement, to looking at retirement income sources, taxes, estate planning, risk protection, investing. And it's completely educational in nature. There's nothing sold during the class. It does cost $49 to attend.
So if I bring my wife, that means it's going to cost me $98.
No, you can actually bring a spouse at no extra charge.
How about that? Because if I don't bring my wife, I'm not going to be making any decisions on my own.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, couples should plan together.
Yeah.
Very
okay,
good
so I show up
point.
there at 6:30. How many hours is this? And you say 2 days. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
am I going to be able to handle this?
The class is over 2 evenings. It's 2 3-hour sessions, and it's a lot of information, but yes, you'd be fine.
Yeah. And so what's your experience with people walking away from this event, and what they've learned and how they can apply that to their own planning?
You know, I think the biggest impact that I see is kind of they're getting truthful information. There's no magic product that's going to solve all of your problems.
There's no dotted line when you leave.
Yeah, there's no silver bullet. We don't solicit anyone after the class. If they'd like a second opinion, they have to request that in writing with us. So I think for the first time they've gone to something where, you know, somebody didn't buy them dinner and they went and paid for a class that's offered through a college to get real information. I think then they can start to think about their lives and where they need to start addressing things.
So you're paying a little bit to learn a lot that could have a lot to do with your future. And when you're talking about $49, you know, people talk about losing money in the stock market. You could lose $49 during a sneeze.
That's
so
right.
Here, spend the $49, learn something from Tony, and it's not going to really cost you anything. In the end, you probably make money.
That's right. I've had people tell me that for 49 bucks they got their value within the first half hour, and that's my goal.
I'd ask you on again, but it's too late in the show. You'll have to come back another time.